Well, very good morning, everyone. Uh, I've been showing some video. I hope some of you managed to see a clip of it. And this video is about some of the top performer in sporting history. And as you can see, performance, success, great outcome. It comes only for certain people who have actually dedicated themselves in several aspects. They've dedicated their training, totally devoted. They're under a nice, proper training plan. They've dedicated themselves into sport, sacrificing everything. They have high talent in terms of physical aspect and other technical aspect in terms of sport. And of course, we always say a great sports person have great mind. So they have great mind management. In today's topic, I'm going to discuss how to do mind management and how to ensure that your mind support you to give best performance in your sporting scenario. In my view, mind management have three strong areas. One is control competition anxiety. Point two is subconscious mind training for best performance. So here also training factor comes. We train our body, but we also need to train our mind. And then of course, we need to understand or realize the zone of optimal performance. We will come to all this aspect step by step. And at the end of the slide, I'm going to give you a slide task, especially swimmers, what you can do back home at this point to train your mind to execute new skills. So whenever you get inside the water on the first day, you probably have a better skill than what you had on the last day before these things. Okay. Our first step. When we talk about competition anxiety, there are two aspects I feel are very important to understand. Competition anxiety is composed of fear of failure and also choking under pressure. Fear of failure, we all know, we are worried about something. We have fear whether what if we don't do the outcome what we want to get, right? So fear of failure may comes from our internal mind. Fear of failure may comes from our parent. Fear of failure may comes from different segment which we are going to discuss later. And let us start with choking under pressure. Now, choking under pressure, it happens to many elite level sports person in different way, many years, right? Let me give you some of the example of choking under pressure. Yana Novotná in Wimbledon final 1993, she was playing against Steffi Graf. She was leading. In the decider game, she was leading by 5-1. Somehow, she didn't manage to perform because she choked under pressure. And we all know the end result. Steffi Graf, she managed to win the race or tennis tournament in Wimbledon final 1993. Greg Norman, uh, he is in the he's an amazing golfer. In 1996, in the Masters, he failed to perform where he have performed outstandingly in the primary level with a record of 63. So this happens. This happens to sports person. This happens to England penalty takers also. Um, in one of the tournament in 1990, it happens to many sports person. But we need to know how to ensure that we should not choke under pressure. In my view, there are four areas. If we work on that, we can actually revive from the choking under pressure area. The first thing is practice under pressure. Now, what do you mean by practice under pressure? In my view, suppose you're doing some challenging set in practice. Would you like to accept the challenge? We have asked you to do 2 into 50 all out with die, right? And you're exhausted. You cannot do anymore. Then suddenly we ask you to, can you do the third one? And can you try and clock a better timing? That's a challenge. Would you like to accept that pressure? We have given you a very tough task of doing say 20 into 100 with a restart of 110. It's probably very tough for a lot of swimmers, right? Can you do that? Can you attempt to break your normal comfort zone and go to a tough zone? So once you do that in your practice, once you train your body, and this training comes when your mind is ready for it. You tell your mind, even if my body is suffering from a lot of pain, can I do it? Can I take the challenge? Once you take this challenge, once you practice under pressure, this will help you to ensure that you don't choke under pressure during your competition, which is very important. And it's very important, especially for age group swimmers who haven't done many competition. So for you, in every practice session, you need to ensure that you practice under pressure in the challenging set as directed by your coach, of course. The second thing, what my feel is, when I'm too focused, over focused on something, I sometimes right. So as I was saying, um, distract yourself a bit means if you're over tense, if you're over focused on performance, on delivering your performance right before the meet, there's a probability that you may choke under pressure. So, what is the best way of distracting yourself? Is it you're going to talk to many people, you're going to chat, you're going to have fun? Not really. You distract yourself a bit means you may listen to your favorite music. Michael Phelps does that. A lot of top swimmers does that. So we can do that. Third is expressive emotion. Now, this is very important for the people who are sprinters. And you might have seen that a lot of sprinters nowadays at a starting block, especially in elite level meets, they kind of shout, they kind of hit their body, they do some aggressive stunt. And this is basically to express their emotion before start. This will ensure that you don't choke under pressure. And I have a strong recommendation for sprinter in this. The next point is, of course, not for very early age group, not for sub-juniors. The next point is for elite level senior group, those who have been performing in national levels or international levels. Don't dilly-dally. Don't dilly-dally means don't do anything very, very slow before the meet. And, you might have been thinking that, okay, if I do very slowly, if I stay very slowly, if I walk very slowly, I probably going to do a better performance and my mind is going to be stronger, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen sometimes. So I'm not asking you to do everything very fast, but probably in a reasonable way. Do not do dilly-dally, where it is just opposite in sub-junior. For sub-junior young kids, you're supposed to be calm, you're supposed to be composed, you're supposed to move around slowly and steadily to ensure that you don't choke under pressure. My second point is fear of failure. How to overcome fear of failure. It happens, right? It happens because you get fear. You get fear of not performing. What will happen if I do not perform? But you need to understand, this is, in your life, you'll get many opportunities. This is not the only meet. This is not the only race where you will be, distracted if you don't perform. This pressure might come from your family. It might come from your friends. It might come from your coach. It might come from your teammates. This thing happens. Your strategy, if you have the fear of failure, you try and talk to those people who are the source of your fear, right? Just go and talk to them once. And once you express that you are suffering from fear of failure to them, probably it will ensure that the fear will go away because you have already expressed yourself. The question mark is not there. You have opened the ball. I feel, my personal view, to ensure that you stop fear of failure, the first thing what you need to do in your mind is to focus on process. You do not focus on outcome. And this is something I've learned from a guy called Clive Ruston, ex-Clive Ruston. He's one of our ex-technical director. Process, not outcome. That's very, very important for any swimmer. And even parents and the coaches, we all need to ensure that happens. What is process? I'm going to swim a 200-meter freestyle. My process is how I'm going to do 200 freestyle. My outcome is whether I have come first, second, third, or whether I've clocked a particular amount of timing. That's my outcome. My focus should not be on the outcome. My focus should be on the process, which will ensure the outcome. So probably before race or during your practice, your coach, yourself, you might have know the things what you need to do to ensure the outcome. So always focus on process. My second point, you can only control yourself. You cannot control others. What do you mean by that? You're in lane number 4 and there's another swimmer is in lane number 5. And he's also looking pretty good in the final, right? And you're worried that he might beat you in the final. Now, trust me, it's not under your control. If the other swimmer is faster than you, you cannot control his swimming. What you can control, you can make yourself fast. You cannot have fear of the other person to make yourself slow. You're not supposed to do that. So these two things, if you do it properly, focus on process, not outcome, and focus on what you can control, will really going to help you to overcome the fear of failure. And as I said, the other thing what you can do, if if you have the fear of failing and you cannot show your face to your friends, family, coach, teammate, go and talk to them before the meet. Express the reason of your fear. And the other thing what we are going to discuss in the next slide is unsuccessful experience of past that might create the fear of failure. You know, I might have been totally ready for a certain meet and I'm going to swim, say I'm going to do 400-meter IM, but on a particular day, I have the fear that I might spoil my meet because I have done this kind of failure in past, though I'm totally ready for everything. So this is called thought suppression, right? And this happens because of a thing called thought suppression. You need to ensure that you know what is thought suppression, and you ensure that you don't do anything which relates to that. Now, what do you mean by thought suppression? You have gone for a swimming meet, you are going to swim 100-meter butterfly, and you spoil your turn. You touch the wall with one hand, you're disqualified, and you don't want to think about it anymore. It's a failure, and you don't want to think about your failure. You know, most of us, we don't want to think about your failure. It irritates us, right? So what we try and do, we try and think of something else and some good things, all right? And a lot of people will tell you also, don't think about that and think about something good. But what you're going to do end up with, you're going to wear the wrong thing with the right things. So in future, whenever you think of good things, that will also get your feelings for the bad things. I'll give a very simple example. If I ask everyone to close their eyes and I tell you, do not see purple color. And if I tell you 2-3 times, you can try that also. Close your eyes and try not to see purple color. You'll see a lot of people, probably 70% of you all, will see purple color when you're keeping your eyes closed. So when you say something that I'm not going to do negative, I'm not going to think negative, you actually increase your probability of doing negative. Now, this is something you need to be very, very careful of, right? So I personally feel always recognize. Okay. Okay, now can you message me in group how many of you managed to see purple color when you close your eyes? If anyone have done it, well, Kesar Singh, you have seen purple color. Okay, so I want you to do this drill again. Close your eyes and try not to see yellow color. And if you manage to see yellow color, just put a yes. Try not to see yellow color. Well, I can see there are a lot of people, Aditya Dubey, Kiran D'Souza, Rohini Mehta, right? Thank you so much. That makes sense. So what happens is, this is how your mind runs. So you cannot not think of a negative thing. You need to recognize the negative thing, take it as an opportunity that, okay, I have done this mistake. It's an opportunity to understand my mistake and try to overcome your mistake through your training, through your practice session, and that will help you. The other thing what you can do, yesterday in the topic, someone was asking, you know, is meditation is good or pranayama is good? I feel yes, it is. And one other thing what you can do in meditation, you can do a mindfulness meditation. What is mindfulness meditation? Mindfulness meditation goes like this. You close your eyes, relax, and take yourself out and see the thing what you have done throughout the day. And especially, suppose in this kind of meet where you failed, close your eyes, see the event, see your mistake without being judgmental. Do not put any comment on it while seeing yourself. Like you are a third party and you're seeing something from outside. You're seeing your race from outside. So close your eyes, visualize your race and see what you have done. This is called mindfulness meditation. Now, this is something will be very helpful, especially when you have gone for a meet where you did not perform. So what will happen, this will ensure that you recognize your mistake. And once you recognize your mistake, then there's always a probability that you can do better and you can correct it, right? So this is all about thought suppression. Just make sure that, you know, you do this drill, and this will ensure that the fear of failure will go away from your mind. So as I said, process, not outcome. What you can control is focus on what you can control. Means you can control your lane. You cannot control the next lane, right? And of course, talk to the people who's causing the fear of failure before the event. That will make you more comfortable probably. And at the end, as I said, do some drill to ensure that you don't get thought suppression. Subconscious mind training. Now, I have used this term called subconscious mind training for best performance. I haven't said conscious mind training. What happens to be successful in any event? It has, there has been a lot of study had happened, and the outcome of the study is a successful race happens when a swimmer is swimming from their subconscious mind, not from their conscious mind. So if you're swimming from your subconscious mind, there's a high probability that you're going to do better. If you're doing conscious mind and swimming, there's a high probability that you may not do better. You might spoil your race. I'll go to the next slide quickly. This will give you an idea how subconscious and conscious mind works. I hope everyone knows what is subconscious mind or conscious mind. So let me tell you again, what is subconscious mind? Subconscious mind is something which happens automatically, right? Like you're breathing. You're not thinking about your breathing. Like you're walking, talking to someone. So you're talking to someone with your conscious mind, but you're walking with your subconscious mind. So this is subconscious mind. And I'm sure you know what is conscious mind. Let us go to the next slide and let's see how your subconscious mind works, how you do your race technically through your mind, because your mind, what controls your body. I can show you 4 examples and you can see there are 4 choices. So when you train in different aspects. So you sometimes have trained a stroke where let us talk about freestyle, right? Suppose you have done full extension freestyle stroke. So when you do full extension, full stretch, nice glide in your freestyle stroke, you end up getting very efficient stroke. But the problem with that stroke, good part in that stroke, that the number of stroke what you're going to take per length is going to be very less. Say 16.5 stroke cycle you're going to take to finish a length. But the sad part in this kind of stroke is the stroke rate or the frequency of your stroke or the speed of your stroke is not going to be very fast because you're doing full extension. So stroke rate range here, say 28 to 38, or speed of your hand movement or hand frequency, say 28 to 38. That's your range. So that's probably your choice number 1. Say your choice number 2 is going to be a high power stroke. So what is choice number 2? You can move your hand really fast in that. So you can move your hand at a range from 45 to 65 stroke cycle per minute, where your distance per stroke is going to be less. So that's why your stroke count per length is going to be higher, which is going to be 19. So choice number 3 is moderate extension stroke, where your stroke counting is going to be 17.5. Again, your speed is going to be better than choice 1, but slightly lower than choice 2. Choice number 4, efficient power stroke. It is slightly efficient than high power stroke. As you can see, the number of stroke you're going to take per length is 18, but your speed is going to be slightly less. So your stroke rate range is going to be 40 to 60. And choice number 5, less efficient stroke, say 18 to 20, where your stroke rate range is also 28 to 55, which means it's a pathetic kind of stroke and you don't want to go to choice number 5. And suppose you're doing a race of 400 freestyle and you have started. So it's an example how your subconscious mind work in your race, right? So you're starting a 400 meter freestyle. You just jump in. So what will happen? Your subconscious mind is going to choose one of the stroke option from the choice. The more you train your subconscious mind, the better choice probability you're going to get. Not necessarily you're going to get the best stroke choice probability, but the better stroke choice probability you want to get, right? And probably for 400 freestyle, the better stroke choice probability for you is going to be 3. But since you haven't trained your subconscious mind enough, what will happen is this. You may end up with choice number 1, which is still decent because it's a full extension stroke. Your stroke count is going to be less. Of course, your stroke cannot move really fast like choice 3. Then suddenly your conscious mind jumps in. Arey, I'm doing a wrong stroke. I have to correct my stroke. So your conscious mind jumps in, right? And conscious mind want to change your stroke pattern. And you assume that when your conscious mind is going to change your stroke pattern, You will go to option number 3 or choice number 3. Unfortunately, our mind doesn't work like that way. The moment your conscious mind and subconscious mind, they conflict, you end up getting confused. And see what happens. You end up getting confused and you end up getting a stroke choice of choice 5. What is stroke choice? Once you start your stroke, you actually do similar pattern of stroke. This is how your stroke runs in your body, right? And you end up going to choice 5. You don't want that to happen. That's pathetic, right? So you don't want to go to choice 5. So you don't want to let your conscious mind come into your stroke technique. Does it mean your conscious mind doesn't have any support during your swimming competition? Not really. Your conscious mind has some support, which is your effort. So your conscious mind can actually control the stroke rate. So suppose you have choose choice number 1 and you're doing a stroke efficiency of choice number 1, your conscious mind can change the effort from 28 to 38 at the end of the race where you want to swim fast. And this is where your conscious mind comes in. Your conscious mind can ensure if you're doing 50-meter freestyle, in the last 5 meter, the person next to you, your conscious mind can ensure that you put extra effort and overtake that person. But if you're swimming with your conscious mind, 50 freestyle, you know what will happen? Now, if your subconscious mind is doing the swimming and your conscious mind is controlling the effort, you're going to do a good job. But if your conscious mind is helping you to swimming in the last 5 meter, what do you end up doing? You end up looking at the person next to you in every stroke without holding your breathing for last 5 to 10 meters, and probably you end up coming second instead of coming first. So that's how your conscious and subconscious mind, debate and fight among themselves. So it's very important for us before the competition, train our mind. Now, what we can do to train our mind, what we can do to make our mind strong. I personally feel that these are the following things what you can do. I want you to look at this link at the bottom. We always talk about visualization, right? But how to do visualization? This link will just try and follow this link. I'm going to message this link at the end of the, maybe let's see. Vijay, can you help me to copy this link and message it in the group if possible? So I'll try to do that. If not possible, so just go to that YouTube video and do the visualization technique as suggested in that link. Self-talk, and whenever you do self-talk, we always do self-talk, right? But whenever you do self-talk in terms of swimming, you always do positive self-talk. Again, come back to thought suppression. Never said that I'm not going to do this. So if you're going for the race, I'm going to do a good dive. That's a positive self-talk. Negative self-talk, or say, if I say that I'm not going to take a false start, but I'll be doing a good dive, that becomes a negative self-talk, because you're saying that you're not going to do false start. You're giving a probability that you end up doing a false start. So always be positive. Mirror drill is something our swimmer does, and we do it on glass also. It gives a better effect of mirror drill. There are a lot of kids who cannot express themselves properly in front of others. So what I do suggest, I suggest you to go in front of the mirror. Ensure that there's no other person next to you. Look at the mirror. Look at it closely. Look at your face. See whether you can see a champion in front of your face or you can see a weak loser in front of your face. If you see a weak person, ensure that you convert that person into a champion person. That's what you need to work on. Right? That's mirror drill. Visualizations are two parts, have two parts. One is skill visualization. I do suggest you to do skill visualization, especially during the course of developmental stage or preparatory stage. And you do race visualization, especially during your taper phase. That's what I personally feel you should be doing. There's something I should tell you, and this is how your competition or race going to work. In race, you need to ensure that your mind and your body are well tuned in the same line. What is that? There are three people. On the left side, it is past. On the right side, it is future. At the center, it's present. I don't think your body can go to past. Your mind can go to past, but your body cannot go to past. So do you think you'll be successful when you're thinking of past? Not really. I don't think your body can go to future, but your mind can go to future. So do you think you can do a successful race at the time of race if you're thinking of future? Not really. So you always perform well when you're keeping your mind and your body, your soul and your body in the same line which is present. I'll give you a very simple example. You're on the starting block, you're past. The guy on the left side, he have done a wonderful time in the state meet. So he might overtake me. You're thinking of past, future. I have to come first in this race and I have to get 26.3 in 50-meter butterfly. That's your future. You don't want to think about your future. Your body should not be thinking of past. What your body should be thinking on the starting block. Okay, I need to focus on the starting signal so that I can take a correct start. The moment my body goes in, I'm going to do a right kind of underwater dolphin kick. So your mind and your body should always be on the present to ensure more success in your race. It's not that you're not going to be successful if your mind is in past, your not mind is going to be in future, but there's a probability of becoming more successful when you get your soul and your body in tune in present. As I said, I'm going to share some of the things what you can do in these few days back home. And I strongly feel that you can kind of correct your weak link at this point. Now, what do you mean by your weak link? Uh, you're doing butterfly stroke, and you've seen Michael Phelps, when he does butterfly, his middle and index finger touch the water first. But in your case, it's always your thumb which touches the water first, and you twist your palm upward always. Now, that's not very good for you, and you want to correct that. So, what you can do this step. Step one, you see your target stroke. So you see the video of Michael Phelps, sees butterfly recovery, probably in slow motion. You can go to YouTube, you can go to some other portal where you can see all these videos. You can check, you can, it's not big deal to search. So you can type Michael Phelps in slow motion or Michael Phelps recovery, you can get it. So you see that video. Or you can speak to your coach, which swimmer do you think I should be mentoring or I should be following that particular swimmer stroke? So your coach will guide you. Then step two, you close your eyes and see the video of whom? Of the same guy. So suppose I'm giving you an example of Michael Phelps butterfly entry. So you see Michael Phelps butterfly entry in the video, say for 20 to 30 seconds, and then close your eyes, see whether you can see the same video. Michael Phelps only, right? It's called video visualization. Then again, you open your eyes, see, repeat the step one, see Michael Phelps again. But in step four, instead of seeing Michael Phelps, this time you're going to see yourself doing the same stroke. So you're going to see yourself doing the right kind of entry rather than the wrong entry, what probably your coach was telling you for many days, right? So close your eyes and see that. The process for this drill, in my view, you are going to do step one and step two for one time, and step three and step four for two times. So if you do it every day and take a particular skill every day, in next few days, trust me, when you're going to be in the water, there's a high probability that your subconscious mind will be well trained to ensure that you end up doing a slightly better stroke than what you're doing now. So please do it, and please ask your coaches that what kind of video or which swimmer you are going to follow. This is your homework during this lockdown period. This is what I feel that this is how you can train your mind and execute better skills. Zone of optimal performance. Now this is the last part of my talk. Now I always say zone of optimal performance. If you look at my initial slide, I said control competition anxiety. I never said that you should not be having anxiety. Anxiety is important to ensure that you're mentally ready for your preparation. So,
You need to present
I
again.
know, I know. I just, sorry.
You've been muted. Dada, you can press Control D. You will unmute.
Yeah, I've done it. Thank you, Vijay. Good support. Okay, now what should be the level of anxiety? There has been many research in this, and the most successful research paper has been done by Yarkes Dotson. Yes, they have done an inverted U model. Now, what is this? If I don't have any anxiety, if I'm very casual, I say I'm fun, free, relaxed, there's a probability that you may not do good performance. If my anxiety is very high, very, very high, I'm totally tense. There's a probability that I might not do very well. So in a moderate level, the good zone of optimal performance lies between 3 to 8 in a scale of 10. So if your maximum anxiety is 10, if your maximum anxiety is 10, then it lies between 3 to 8. How to, okay, I hope you all can see, right? So how to control that? How to control that and how to understand what is my base zone of optimal performance. So what you need to do is called tracking yourself. So whenever you go for a meet and perform, at the beginning of the race, just note what is the level of your anxiety in a scale of 1 to 10. How do you feel? Or maybe you can do it after the race also. And then state the performance. Are you happy, okay, sad? State the performance, maybe in a scale of 1 to 10, or maybe in a scale of happy, okay, sad, or stuff like that. In the next meet, do the same thing. Again, in the next meet, do the same thing. And once you do that, slowly you'll understand a database. At a certain amount of anxiety, you really perform well. I need to understand that kind of anxiety level you need to have before you event. For very simple way, the lesser task you have, for that higher anxiety you need to have before you event. For example, for 50 meters event, you don't need to do skills like turn, you don't need to do skills like controlling your speed in different 50s. So it's more simple compared to complex 400 meter or maybe 800 meter or maybe 200 meters. So for short distance or for sprinters, you need to have slightly high anxiety. So you need to be slightly more aggressive also. For distance base, your starts is more complex than sprinter. So for complex task, your anxiety level need to be slightly lower. So maybe you can, if you're doing a very strong distance event, so your anxiety level can be 3. So your mind is under your control, right? Maybe 4 or stuff like that. And that comes your zone of optimal performance. And I end up telling you this: you should motivate for swimming for your passion and love for swimming. If you're motivated for your materialistic gain, you're never going to end up becoming a great swimmer, because you might come first in some other event and you may lose your motivation. But when you have passion and love for swimming, that is the only thing what will make you a better swimmer. I think that's fine, and I'm going to stop my presentation now and I'm going to come to normal screen. 1 second. Yeah, I'm ready for questions, if any. Can that person, I cannot see that. Vijay, can you tell me what you have written? The message went away. Actually.
So question from Parth Jain. Suppose I give my PB in third last competition, but in the last 2 competitions I have increased it. What should I do about before the event? Should I think what I did in the third competition or in the present?
Okay, so this is what you need to do, Parth. You need to first, before your competition, you don't think about your race on that particular day. At least 4 days before, first understand what mistake you have done. And then try to ensure that you train that mistake. You ensure that you don't do that mistake. You train yourself correctly. Then step 2, you do some mirror reading technique, look at the mirror, do some self-talk and tell yourself, I've done it properly, so I'm going to do the correct skill in this upcoming competition. In the third one, you also need to ensure that you do a visualization 3 days before the event once, 2 days before the event twice, the day of the event 2 times. So once you do that, that will help you to do better. That's a nice one, Peter.
A question from Satishwar Chandrasekhar. Can you suggest any books for mindful meditation and mind training?
Okay, for mindful meditation, I'm going to share a link of YouTube, or you can type mindful meditation for sports person. There's a 5 or 6 minute slide, and you can make your kids just listen to that instruction and do the mindful drill meditation. So it's about 6 minutes. So every day they can do it. They close their eyes and do the meditation, turning that video on.
Okay, Shefali Nair has asked, saying that how much of swimming is a mental or a mind game? If you have to rate it on a scale of 10, how much would you rate?
No, it depends. It is totally how you, again, how can you control your mind with your body? That what matters. There are a lot of people feel that, okay, if my mind is very strong, I'm going to outperform. Not really. You need to tune your mind and body, and how well you can tune your mind body, that ensures the performance. So in a scale of 1 to 10 is not mind. In a scale of 1 to 10 of tuning your mind and your body, have you trained your mind? Have you trained your body? Because if you trained your mind and haven't trained your body and you expect a better performance, it's not going to happen. But if you trained your body and haven't trained your mind, there's a probability that you may choke also. So it's basically a merge of your mind and body, and then you scale yourself where you want to go.
Leena Dhami is asking, does meditation help? If yes, why don't you think we should add it in the workout daily or workout only?
Why not a kid do meditation back home every day before they sleep? I'll tell you what the kids need to do every day. Before they sleep, they need to sit in a fixed posture, not necessarily in yoga posture, in a fixed posture for say about 4 to 5 minutes, close their eyes, see all the tasks they have done in the morning, and then get every task into a single point. It's like a black hole, zoom everything inside. I think that's going to be good.
Nilima Mukherjee is asking, how do I improve my finishing? I fear a little in competitions. How can I improve it fast?
Yes, Nilima, that's a sign of weak mind, So what happened is, at the end of, at the race, at the finish line, you always put your conscious mind control your swimming. That's why you fail. This time, you're going to let your subconscious mind control your swimming. Means you're going to do whatever coach have told you to do in the last 5 to 10 meters instead of thinking of what the other swimmers are doing. Don't try to think of the other lane. That's not under your control. That can be a guideline. Okay, that swimmer is ahead of me or behind me. That's the only thing what you can do from looking at the other swimmer. But the other thing is, this time you just train your subconscious mind. So before the race, 3 days before the race, do the same drill of visualization as I told you. See the race, and always when you do visualization, I haven't told you this thing. So always when you do visualization of race, you see yourself as a winner, and you see all the person next to you. Even you are not sure of winning, you see yourself as winner always. That has to be there. The second thing is, you always see yourself stronger than the person next to you. Never see yourself inferior standing next to, even suppose you're swimming next to Veer Dhawan Khare and you're doing 50-meter freestyle. Even then also you see yourself stronger than the other swimmer. This is the way the drill runs. This is the way the mind runs. Never allow yourself to feel inferior, because the moment you do that, you end up looking at the purple color. Anything else?
You've got a compliment from Sarita Madhavan. She says it's an excellent presentation and very important for kids to watch this.
I'm glad. Thank you so much.
Same from Leena and Dhanshuk Kagatra, that is Yogesh sir as well. I've moved to a couple of other questions. Jagadish is asking, sir, how to motivate long distance swimmers as they're not racing very often?
Yes, now this is something very important, right? I've done this with Kushagra, Shivangi, and a lot of other swimmers. I think mind training is very important. So they need to understand and feel the pacing. So what they can do, you need to do a task of say, I'll give you a very simple example. You do 8 into 50 on a particular day, and you try to judge your timing. So suppose you judge that in the first 50, I'm going to do 27.5, and you fail to do it, and you have done 26.5. You went faster. In the second one, suppose you want to do 28.2, and you fail to do it, you heard that you end up doing 28.7. So there's a large gap between what you expected and what happens. So every day, I mean, whenever you do this kind of set, after the set, you come up, you put all this data in your swimming diary. Okay, first 50, this is the timing I want to achieve, and this is the timing I got. Second 50, this is the timing I felt that I have achieved, and this is the timing I got. Third 50, this is the timing I felt I have achieved. So what will happen? Your nervous system in slowly and slowly, steadily will understand what is the actual feel your body is supposed to get, rather than what you are actually feeling now. So what you are feeling now, suppose what happens is sometime in distance even, we feel that your second 100, I'm doing 400 freestyle and I'm supposed to say do 101 in my second 100, and you feel that you second 100 you have touched at 101.2, but you actually end up touching the second 100 at say 59 or maybe say at 103. And why this happens? Because you haven't got the control or tuned your mind feel with your body feel. So you need to kind of tune that, and that comes from practice and writing in your diary. So once you keep doing that every day, slowly your mind or subconscious mind will get tuned with your body, and you will be feeling the right thing, and you can control your race. And of course, that will help you to do better in distance.
Okay, our next question from Ajay Gupta is: can music help in controlling anxiety before the event? Oh, it's from Bhumi. Yeah. Can
Yep.
music help in controlling anxiety before the event?
100% Bhumi. I was a national backstroker also, national medalist backstroker also. So I always listen to a song of Europe, Final Countdown. It really helped me. So you need to recognize what kind of music you need to listen to ensure a better performance and which motivates you really well.
Okay, question from Vaibhav Navare: experiencing palpitation, breathlessness happens when at block. How to address this?
Yes. So this is comes from choking under pressure or fear of failure. So just think about the first point what we have discussed. What are the steps we have discussed to ensure that you don't choke under pressure? What are the steps we have discussed that you don't have the fear of failure? I'm going to share this slide to Vijay also. So, you can relook at it and do those drills. That might help you. So you just do manage your competition anxiety.
Okay, Manjunath Nallappa saying the challenge I notice is time management. We are able to go through these sessions because of lockdown. Otherwise, how can these concepts can even be integrated in regular workout session even after lockdown?
Yeah, time management, of course, you have to be doing that. If you're not present in practice, no matter how much work you do, it's not going to be very helpful anyway.
Sir, it is said that water does not know your age. So when we talk about age group swimming, we say swimmers at an age advantage have a better chance to do well. Isn't this demotivating factor for the younger lot in the particular age group? How do you combat it?
Okay, water doesn't know your age. It's kind of right, because in last Olympic we have seen the output of many international swimmers in one event. There were three first, second, and third. All these three swimmers have been 30 plus. One first was 30, second was 31, third one was 30. It happens that even if you have the will, here comes the mind. If you have the mind, if you have the will, you can always do performance. Michael Phelps, for instance, there's a book called Golden Era. I think Bob Bowman have written this book. I was just reading that book, and Michael Phelps have given up after 2012 Olympic, and he was kind of, okay, I'm done, I'm going to give up my swimming.
You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
So after a few failures, Michael Phelps, he again came back. So your mind, if it's strong and if it is willing to perform, you can always do that. I mean, I don't think there's a problem. But action need to be taken, right kind of action need to be taken. Anything else, sir?
A lot of thank you messages and compliments to
Thank you so
but I
much.
think
It,
that
it
is
was
it.
a pleasure. Huh?
I think that is all the questions are. Is there, if there's any question I have missed or Partho sir has missed, please put it in the chat right away. Otherwise, we could call it a day for today.
Thank you so much. I got some good compliments. I'm very happy with that.